Ed, what does Andrew Feldman mean when he says we are 15 times faster than the nearest competitor? Who's that competitor and what are they faster doing?
Yeah, I mean, the next nearest competitor is probably NVIDIA. But of course, in this present day of AI, custom silicon ASICs, we're talking about like Google's TPU and Grok with a Q acquired by NVIDIA, very specialist systems for inference. And inference just means running an AI model. And the word fast or faster is like super simple. So for the Global Business Week audience, we're talking about how long it takes to get a response when you put a prompt into a generative AI tool or you task an AI agent with something. And because of the fact that Cerebras designs the whole server, top to tail, every little nut and bolt and piece of silicon in there, the design of that system means that's the result. You put a query into your chatbot, you get a response faster. You want to generate or render an image, you get that much more quickly than a system that runs a server where the GPU comes from someone else. That's what he's claiming, and then the big difference, of course, being that not much of the world's activity is running on Cerebras systems at this moment in time.
Will they be, though, in the future, Ed?
Yeah, I think, IPO days are really exciting. Do you agree? I hope
yes.
you guys agree. Okay,
yes,
so IPO days
totally.
Are exciting. And we spend all day on Bloomberg television and radio going, oh, by the way, this is the biggest IPO of the year so far based on the amount of dollars raised. And I don't mean it as a criticism for us as a news org at all, but I'm just like, should we just ask Andrew what he plans to use that money for? And his answer was like super simple, like, yeah, we can't build the systems quick enough. They are in the same situation as everyone else where the demand for the compute is outpacing by a very large margin their ability to supply it. And so they just take those funds and it allows them to move more quickly, build more stuff. But a real emphasis on the fact that they build these servers themselves. They don't just provide the silicon. They build it top to tail, and that's a really important distinction from an NVIDIA.
From the IPO story, Ed, and we're going to get to more on Cerebras Systems in just a second, but on the IPO story, it's the biggest of the year so far. And there's a big one coming, we think as early as June still for SpaceX. How big could that be and how much money could they raise?
Yeah, I actually really echo and reiterate what Carol said about coming out of Milken. People were really interested in this Cerebras IPO. And I think for one reason being, it's a mini testing of the waters for the general environment ahead of what is completely different scale. So like Cerebras raised $5.5 billion and offered 30 million shares. And on a fully diluted basis, it's like $50 billion valuation pre-trade. SpaceX is going to try and raise like what, $75 billion? And at a $1.752 trillion valuation. The economics of it are completely different. One thing super interesting, like Cerebras got a bit of criticism because they didn't really open this IPO up to retail investors. So they had a lot of institutionals, those kind of cornerstone crossover investors going into this. Well, the same kind of names that will be eyeing this SpaceX IPO as well.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, I don't know. I do wonder, there's just so much money moving around this space, new entrants, right? And I do wonder, is Cerebras a company that we talk about in 5 to 10 years from now? I think about that with NVIDIA. I just feel like there's so much happening here, Ed, that it's hard to see what the longer term play is potentially. For now, it seems like they're all getting lots of orders and they can't keep up.
Yeah, I mean, I remind us that, the story we broke literally 24 hours before they started trading was that ARM tried to buy Cerebras in early May, even though they were headed towards an IPO. And even though Cerebras is kind of a drop in the ocean in the overall compute that's out there in the world right now, super fast inference is the focus for everyone. When you think about Amazon and Google and the work they're doing with custom chips, like the mainstay of that is being able to run the models faster, not train them. And so, of course, as Mr. Feldman would put it, he sees a great future for them where they dominate more of that market. They, like everyone else, just need to build servers quicker.
And who do they rely on? Like, who are their not just their customers, but who are their suppliers, Ed?
Well, okay, so again, I just reiterate that, like, if you're NVIDIA, okay, NVIDIA increasingly owns as a percentage or a proportion the content of a server. I just want everyone that's listening on audio and not in video to, like, close, if you're even on video, join me, close your eyes and just imagine like a big computer server. And right now, ones that have NVIDIA tech in them probably have like 50 to 60% content that NVIDIA can directly claim they're responsible for. But it's like assembled by Dell or Supermicro. Dell and Supermicro have margins in like the low teens. Cerebras builds the whole thing, like all of it, like it's theirs. That brings a capital burden. Hardware's expensive and difficult, but their margins are like 40, 41%. NVIDIA's are 75, Dell's are low teens. They're trying to find their foothold in the market where the benefit of doing it all themselves, being vertically integrated, starts to show to investors. Sorry, Carl.
But what about TSMC, for example? I mean, TSMC plays with everyone. So wouldn't TSMC be a supplier too?
Yeah, exactly. So basically, the main distinction is, for example, I've spent 5 years telling you this is not true, but just ignore the past 5 years. Chips, essentially, you can't hold in your hand. But for the purposes of this fantastic segment, you can hold an NVIDIA chip in your hand. It's an actual chip, and you've probably seen me do that, right? The distinction with Cerebras is it is a wafer. It is not some kind of thing that you can plug into someone else's box. It exists in that wafer layer, which is why Cerebras has no choice but to wrap the entire server design around it. It also means that Cerebras can't sell it as a standalone chip to someone else to then put into theirs. But it still has to be fabbed. It still has to go through the full process of deposition and etching it, so on and so forth. We're getting quite technical now, but that is the principal difference.
So Ed, not a semiconductor company.
Yeah. Do you know what's so funny? Dina Bass, shout out Dina Bass, longtime Seattle bureau chief, our AI infrastructure lead correspondent. She wanted me to ask Andrew, are you a semiconductor company? Are you a server company? Or are you a data center company? Because honestly, they would claim to be all three. And that's what I did try and get to with him. I didn't ask the question, so Dina, I'm sorry. Okay. But I did ask him, why don't you just sell the wafer? And then I think I just kind of summarized his explanation on why.